The New York Yankees got terrible production at the first base position last season, with a negative 1.2 Fangraphs WAR and a 71 WRC plus from players who primarily played first base on the Yankees roster. That includes a group of Anthony Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu, Ben Rice, and for certain stints of time, even Yandy Diaz. It was not an inspiring group for the Yankees. It was not a position to hang your hat on. It is one the Yankees are going to have to invest at least some sort of capital in, whether it's financial or trade capital. And while free agency does have some really interesting options with Christian Walker, Carlos Santana, to some extent Pete Alonso, I think that the Yankees could also look at the trade market for a potential option at first base. Today, we're going to go over 5 candidates who the Yankees could realistically trade for. So no, we're not talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We're not talking about some crazy trade where, they somehow end up with Vinny Pasquantino. We're talking about 5 players who could get moved, who the Yankees do have the kind of prospect capital to go out and get. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees on all of our various social media platforms, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or of course this YouTube page. With all that out of the way, let's get into today's video talking about top 5 first basemen the Yankees could realistically trade for this winter. Cody Bellinger hit 18 home runs in 130 games, slashing .266, .325, .426 with a 109 WRC+, providing above-average offense while playing 4 different positions for the Cubs, including left field, center field, right field, and first base. The left-handed swinging outfielder has over 2,000 innings at first base, with +7 defensive runs saved and -1 outs above average, but the problem here isn't a lack of talent or production, but rather the price tag it comes with. The Cubs paid $26.7 million this season for a 2.2 F-WAR, and Bellinger's owed that same amount of money for the 2025 season, a number he could be owed again in 2026 if he chooses to opt in, a player option which we'll talk about in a bit. There's a clear fit in Yankee Stadium for someone like Bellinger, who pulls the ball in the air a ton, as he would have had 24 home runs had he played all of his games in the Bronx, according to Baseball Savant. Perhaps the extra 6 home runs would have made the OPS that Bellinger would put up in 2024 high enough to stomach his expensive luxury tax hit, but is he the best use of prospect or financial capital for the Yankees? Steer projects him to repeat his 2024 season with a 2.1 projected WAR and a 109 projected WRC+ across 133 games, but that wouldn't be enticing enough to risk paying as much as $53.4 million over the next 2 seasons for someone like Bellinger. Some would argue that the Yankees could trade a contract to offset the less than stellar contract Cody Bellinger is on, but neither Marcus Stroman nor DJ LeMahieu present themselves as enticing options that Chicago would want in a deal. The Yankees could also try to offer a pre-arbitration player with value, offloading a set amount of money while getting a player in a position of need, but still it would likely run the Yankees at least $20 million, and that's not necessarily a fair price for Bellinger's services, especially considering that player option, which could kick in for 2026 if he doesn't play well, or be declined and leave the Yankees without a first baseman in 2026 if he does play well. Cody Bellinger is far from the worst option in the world, but he is a massive risk for the Yankees to take, and the contract alone might be enough for them to not even show interest in him this winter. LaMonte Wade Jr. had a solid season with the mediocre San Francisco Giants as he posted a 119 WRC+ with 8 home runs and 117 games. His standout quality is a patient eye at the plate, as he walked in 15.5% of plate appearances, which resulted in an excellent .380 on base percentage. Having that kind of patience atop the lineup would be perfect for the Yankees, who didn't find a stable leadoff hitter until Gleyber Torres took off in late August, but now that Gleyber Torres is a free agent, it creates a hole once more at that leadoff spot. The Giants are looking to shed payroll and move Wade this winter, so he could be a lower cost option that could pack even more of a punch if he comes over to the Bronx. He had excellent batted ball data despite slugging under 400, with a 401 expected weighted on base average on contact, which we can basically simplify as damage rate. He had a 90.6 mile per hour average exit velocity and a 9.4% barrel rate in 2024. One has to wonder if Yankee Stadium would be a better fit, especially considering that according to Baseball Savant, LaMonte Wade would have hit 3 more home runs had he played all of his games at Yankee Stadium. He's decreased his pulled fly ball rate since joining the Giants because Oracle Park is not as great of a ballpark for hitting home runs to right field as the Bronx is, where the Bronx is arguably the best ballpark to hit home runs to right field at. Projected to make just $4.7 million in his final year of arbitration, the Yankees will be getting cheap production at first base, and they may have the kind of player that the Giants would covet in a deal. Starting pitching was a problem for the Giants and could be an even bigger one without Blake Snell, and that's where someone like Nestor Cortez or prospects like Will Warren or Clayton Beeter could be of interest. If the Yankees and Giants wanted to expand this deal, perhaps having the Yankees take on someone like Taylor Rogers in the final year of a $33 million deal would work. New York does need some left-handed bullpen depth, and the Giants could provide both a first baseman and reliever for the Yankees at a total cost of $15.7 million of payroll if the Yankees don't ask for any money in return. And for the Yankees, they would get an upgrade to their bullpen, an upgrade to first base, and if they're eating about $15 million of payroll, they may not have to trade from the top of their farm system or trade a key part of their current 26-man roster. This feels like a savvy Cashman move, and it's one that would give the Yankees a leadoff hitter, bullpen support, and a first baseman for the 2025 season. Nathaniel Lowe enjoyed another strong season at the plate as he hit 16 home runs with a 121 WRC+ and 361 OBP for a disappointing Texas Rangers squad. While his power has declined from his breakout campaign back in 2022, the ability to make good swing decisions and hit the ball hard are still there, and if the Rangers decide to move some of their arbitration-eligible players for pitching or salary relief, the Yankees could be a good team to make a deal with this winter, especially for someone like Lowe, who could give the Yankees stability at first base. I'd imagine someone like Clark Schmidt would be a pitcher of interest, as he has 3 years of control remaining before he hits free agency, and the Texas Rangers do need starting pitching help. As for Lowe himself, while he has 2 seasons before he hits the open market, he doesn't have the same batted ball profile that would be quote-unquote perfect for the Bronx, the way that LaMonte Wade Jr. or Cody Bellinger would have. He would have hit fewer home runs had he played all of his games at Yankee Stadium according to Baseball Savant, and that's due to a very opposite field heavy approach, but we've seen hitters like Juan Soto take advantage of right field by getting the ball in the air out to right field a little more often after coming to the Bronx. The difference maker for me here is that Nathaniel Lowe is by far the best defensive first baseman we've talked about, finishing in the 91st percentile in outs above average this season with +7, and that can be a real help for this infield. Not turning 30 until this upcoming July, and having multiple years of club control, he would be the middle of the order threat that can deepen this lineup even further in 2025 and again provide stability at first base and some continuity for the 2026 season. If the Yankees wanted to be bold, they could try leading him off because again he makes strong swing decisions, he's very patient, and the one concern I'd have with hitting him like 4th or 5th is that he does have a pretty high ground ball rate. He's a player who's been extremely solid at first base over the last 3 seasons. He's helped the Rangers win a World Series title, and he can provide the Yankees some awesome stability and production at first base for the next 2 seasons. The one caveat here, it's not as clear whether Nathaniel Lowe will be traded or not, unlike the other players on this list who would have, I'd say, a decently high chance of being moved this winter. Josh Naylor just socked a career-best 31 home runs with an 118 WRC+ in 2024, continuing to develop his power approach while remaining a key force for the Guardians at first base. Over the last 3 seasons, he's put up -5 defensive runs saved and +9 outs above average at first, so it's safe to say that he can hold his own at the position, and if you want to get bold here, you can say he's an above average defensive first baseman. The combination of easy power with a solid glove is perfect for a team like the Yankees, and entering his final year of arbitration, the Guardians could look to move him and get some pitching in return. Josh Naylor's bat is perfect for the Bronx. He would have had 31 home runs if he played all of his games here at Yankee Stadium and would have had 21 last year under the same circumstances, according to Baseball Savant. While he has made some questionable plate discipline decisions, he does have a tendency to chase a ton, he does make a lot of contact, and I think that helps make up for the fact that he's not the best swing decision maker. He's also extremely aggressive on pitches that you have to hit, and that's something that is really valuable to me, especially in a Yankee lineup where you have a lot of patient hitters. Naylor's ability to just demolish the ball and provide an immediate spark with a single swing is something the Yankees did not have enough of last season at first base. The last time a first baseman on the Yankees hit a home run came in August. Naylor would prevent such a pitiful streak from occurring in the first place because he's such a prolific power hitter. While New York fans may know Josh Naylor as an easy-to-hate guy who doesn't know how to stop poking the bear, I see Josh Naylor as an uber-confident but soft-spoken athlete who can fire up his clubhouse and mesh well with a team like the Yankees. He's far from the clubhouse nuances that Alex Verdugo or Josh Donaldson were considered to be before landing in the Bronx, and while some would argue that neither player panned out here, I'd also argue that neither player was as good or as young as Naylor entering his 2025 season. He's coming off a really good year. He's only 28 years old. He makes a lot of sense if the Guardians were looking to trade him, and honestly, I would be making a lot of calls to Cleveland to see how realistic it is that this deal could get done. A deal that just makes sense for me is Nestor Cortez for Josh Naylor. It's 1 year of a cheap starting pitcher for 1 year of a little bit more of an expensive player. Cleveland would save money. The Yankees would get a first baseman. The Guardians would improve a rotation that was abhorrent last year. And the Yankees would be able to clear up some of their depth chart because they have 6 starting pitchers and you can only have 5 in your rotation if you're going to keep a traditional rotation. The other thing I'd like to say is that if this deal wanted to get bigger and a little crazier, maybe the Yankees could offer someone like Clark Schmidt who has 3 years of control and try to get a reliever back from the Guardians with years of control so that the Yankees could bolster their bullpen, the Guardians could bolster their rotation, and again, the Yankees could get a big-time first baseman like Josh Naylor. Few players are perfect for a team. There are strong fits and players with the potential to check all the boxes for an organization, but truly perfect fits are hard to find. It's why someone like Juan Soto is a player I would just give a blank check to, in my opinion. But Yandy Diaz, to me, is about as close as you can get to being a perfect fit without being considered a superstar player. The right-handed first baseman likely won't have his game power ever match his raw power output, but the ability to command the plate at an elite level while scorching line drives consistently and making tons of contact is truly, and I mean truly, beautiful to watch. He posted a 120 WRC plus last season with a 341 OBP, despite struggling mightily in the first half, but from 2022 to 2023, you could argue he was a top 10 hitter in the sport. With a 406 OBP and a 155 WRC plus over that 2-year run, he put up similar numbers to someone like Juan Soto, and there's reason to believe that Yankee Stadium would suit someone like Diaz a lot better than Tropicana Field. Yandy Diaz did put up strong numbers at home when he played for the Rays, but he generates a ton of hard contact to the opposite field, and he could get the ball out in right field with relative ease. While the likes of Cody Bellinger or LaMonte Wade Jr. would be able to get some pretty notable power gains at Yankee Stadium, perhaps it's Yandy Diaz who could take a huge leap in the power department if he went to the Bronx. His batted ball profile mirrors DJ LeMahieu's before he was awful, while having significantly more raw power, having a 92.2 mile per hour average exit velocity and a 117.4 mile per hour max exit velocity this past season. There are a lot of ground balls, and that could be worrisome for some fans, but I think he has the exact kind of profile the Yankees need atop their lineup. With -5 defensive runs saved and -3 outs above average this year at first base, it's safe to say that Diaz won't provide you with much value with the glove, but owed just $8 million this upcoming season and having a club option for about $10 million in 2026, this is a great fit for the Yankees financially and a perfect fit on the field. If they wanted to make this trade, I think Ben Rice and the pitching prospect would entice the Rays into making this deal, since Rice is a data darling who could become a really strong hitter at the major league level. But projections absolutely love Yandy Diaz, and I am totally fine paying what maybe some would consider a high price point to get him on the trade market. Steam projects him for a 136 WRC plus and a 365 OBP this upcoming year, and that would make him an elite top of the lineup presence. You re-sign Soto, trade for Yandy Diaz, and suddenly you have a Diaz, Soto, Judge, Stanton quartet ready to present any opposing pitcher with towering drives to all parts of the field. It's the exact kind of lineup dynamic the Yankees have been dying to have for years, and I think he'd be perfect for the Yankees, and of course he wouldn't have this crazy long financial commitment. You can decline the option for 2026 if he's bad, and if he's good, you're going to have a super cost-controlled player for 2026 and have stability and continuity at the first base position, which this team desperately needs.
Perfect.